Um,
What are you doing?
I'm watching the YouTube feed. If I can get my YouTube up, my YouTube channel has gotten a lot of viewers lately.
Excellent. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I know. Go ahead. We need to
well.
have an Oprah or something like that, like we were on walkie talkies. I guess the whole culture that has gotten into Zoom meetings and all that needs to develop some sort of. I have the conch shell kind of rotation on.
Yeah, I have the talking stick.
Yeah.
Uh, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh well. Anyway.
Well, you forgot what you
Oh,
were going to say last week, and you wanted to say something about being on the threshold, which has its own word. You want to start by making up for
yeah.
that?
Yes, I was going to talk to you, and I'm going to do a podcast about this, about liminal spaces.
Liminal.
Yes, I believe that's how it's pronounced. Now, you looked that up after I talked about that, right?
Yeah, I did. So I'm vaguely in the know about it. It's like some sort of uncanniness or something like that that you
Yeah,
feel.
yeah. Well, on the internet, on Reddit and stuff, it's a people will post images, and typically it is a I would describe them as a low light situation, no people in the shot, and typically it's cool colors like blues and light greens and stuff, and it tends to look a little bit retro, maybe like something like something from the 70s that maybe
Hmm.
either is and not necessarily abandoned, but yet not, but there's no activity in it. And so they kind of come up with this, and it's referred to as a liminal space. Now, liminal, the word, if you look it up, means it's like a transition space.
Hmm.
Okay, and so people talk about that, and the only thing I was telling you, because I looking back, I have found myself oddly attracted to being in spaces like that. It's just
Yeah.
odd, and I realize because and I don't know about that whole threshold. It's like you're on the doorway to something uh, new or whatever. And I realize when they talk about that, and it's funny because if I go through like my background screens at work, I have like a folder that I use that I rotate through background screens.
Uh-huh.
A lot of them look like that. It's
Hmm.
one of them I really like is something from a game. It's like an abandoned subway station, and it's all cool colors. Maybe the it's cool colors, but the saturation is turned up just a little bit. Uh,
Hmm.
but I think that ties into my personality because I think about this, and it's going to lead into the next thing I'm going to tell you. But I am the kind of person that is always preparing for the next event. I'm always looking forward to something happening. I've realized that about myself over the years.
Yeah.
Um, and I think for myself, it comes out of for so long taking comic samples to comic conventions because I was
Hmm.
always preparing for a comic convention, looking for the next or sending off stuff or looking for the return or look there. I've spent my life with this sense of anticipation. I don't know,
Yeah.
and
Well,
so it all kind of clicked for me
yeah.
when I read about that. Anyway,
Well, that's
that was
interesting. It's I'm not sure if I've got an equivalent kind of thing or not. I'll have to look at the images. I know we all get a resonance with certain things, and for me, it's
yes.
like if something evokes the old baby boomer growing up era that I was in. If you show me some sort of like a racetrack, the old not go karts. What do they call the old racetrack that you used to be able? That used to be. I was in the midst of like, let's sell these kids anything we can get a hold of and sell it to them. The baby boom generation going into 1960, there was never more, uh, you know, effort at trying to entertain the little freaks than Hasbro and all these people, all the toy companies. They just couldn't outdo themselves. They just had a lot of toys and stuff coming. Slot cars is what
Oh,
I was trying to
slot
say.
cars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and those were huge, and they had like practically arenas built for them. Little, they were just in strip malls, but
Yeah.
it was just for
I've
us kids.
I've seen them. There used to be one somewhere in town. There was one like that, a commercial slot car track. Now, when I was a kid, we had one that my dad had made and screwed down to a board. He got a big sheet of plywood, and I was a little kid. I don't think I think it was more for my dad than it was for me
Oh
and my
yeah, sure,
brother,
sure.
you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just interesting how you. To me, the interesting part is that I read about this and I realize another thing that
Oops.
I've always been attracted to, and this is really weird, is like I love textures. And I think back and I go, I think that's why I'm such a big John Byrne fan, is
Mm.
because he was a big guy. A lot of his, he drew X-Men. He drew a lot of metallic textures, even though a lot of it was Terry Austin. But either way, somehow just that look that he gave it, I was really attracted to, and I even now, I find myself attracted to or I guess attracted is the right word, by certain
Hmm.
textures, and I like drawing them. Uh,
Yeah, when you say textures, you mean like a certain way to hatch or something like that?
yeah, 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 yeah. I just like, it's like, okay, it's kind of a metallic texture, and
Hmm.
I like the way, like on the John Byrne. I don't. Oh, hang on, I got something close. I'll show you
Okay.
right here. Like I like. For example, like one thing he does, I'll have to find it, of course, now that I'm.
Brought it
Let's see.
up. No, I'm with you. Like I
See,
say, my.
I like, just stuff like this,
Hmm.
like that. That's a good example. How he makes it's not complex or anything, but I just like the way it kind of like makes it look.
Hmm.
You
It,
know.
it's like yeah, like Kirby doing a little squiggle that reinforces the gesture of his basically his figures that you could say, well, what kind of anatomy is that? Well, that is action toy anatomy, is what that is, and it's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, exactly. Anyway, uh, anyway, yeah, that's my great enlightenment moment for the I don't know, whatever. Anyway, so the other thing I wanted to talk about, is right after we got off recording last week, I found out that my publisher has signed a deal with Simon and Schuster.
I remember that. That was almost immediately after you got off. You would have been talking
Yeah.
about that.
Oh, it's like, oh my gosh. I don't know what that means exactly in terms of how that affects me, but it
Hmm.
means that the odds of my book getting distributed are a lot better, worldwide,
Yeah, and it
apparently.
and it being a kind of a fun, high profile thing. Yeah, you
Yeah,
want that for your work.
yeah, absolutely. But anyway, I found that out right after we ended. There was an announcement made on Facebook. So that was the good news. Let me give you the bad news.
Okay.
Uh, I've been talking to my writer, and he has submitted the book. Now, even though the publisher has told me I want to publish this, it still has to be submitted so that it can be scheduled, put on the schedule. They got to,
Uh-huh.
they got to. Well, so the writer has submitted it. In fact, I'm supposed to be getting issue 2 colors this week. Uh, the writer submitted it, and and he said it looks like it's going to be early 2022, and I'm like, oh my
Good
gosh,
Lord. That's
I
that's quite
know.
that's it's quite a yeah, it's quite a wait period. Yeah. Just stay
Uh,
here over here in
I
the
know.
green room. Just
Oh
have
yeah.
as many pops as you want to drink, and we'll get with
Uh,
you.
And so I've been in kind of this, I don't want to say funk, but I've been I mean, that wasn't what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, and this is what I told him. I said, well, I'll be honest, I'm not thrilled. I want the book out now, but I also know there's no comic market now.
Yeah.
I want the book to sell at conventions. The publisher does a lot of conventions. I was hoping it would be at San Diego last year. There was no San Diego. The book wasn't done, and there was no San Diego. And then my next thing was, okay, this year. Well, they've canceled San Diego this year,
Have they
so
already?
they already have, yeah, which I feel is premature.
Yeah.
I
Heck. Yeah, might as well just go for it. The con flu is always a thing. I don't think
just
anybody goes to the San Diego Comic Con planning to come away healthy. I don't know.
if they do, they're foolish.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But
Well, that's a
anyway, so
shame. I can't believe they're just automatically canceling it again.
oh yeah, well, here's my deal. I mean, I like San Diego, but I think it's gotten way too big, and so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
It's
don't.
big, that's for sure.
So I kind of am like, well, maybe if they cancel it 2 years in a row, maybe it'll reduce the size a little bit. I don't know. But anyway, so I feel like, well, all that kind of sucks. That's
Yeah.
that's how I feel about that. I don't want the book to come out in
In
a
this
hey, Fly Fox
atmosphere,
Road.
yeah,
Everything is canceled forever. Yes,
yeah.
absolutely. But yeah,
I just now
so
looked up. I'm glad you noticed him. He may have been there for 10 minutes for all I know.
oh,
I
sorry
was
about
looking at
that.
my screen, trying to draw, which is always a
Yeah.
struggle.
Anyway, so I feel like my life is in limbo because I'm not really. I mean, I guess I don't know what I need to do. Uh,
A life in limbo. What does that call for? Well, it calls
of,
for a
of
guide, a Dante Alighieri, to take you
what?
by the hand. Limbo.
Who's
Limbo is Dante's. What's the name of that book? Dante's Inferno.
Dante's?
Dante's
Oh,
Inferno.
it is. Oh.
Yeah.
I have a copy of that. Maybe I should read it. I'm
Yeah.
reading
Oh
short. I'm
well,
reading.
wait. That's Larry Niven, isn't it? Is that what you're
Oh
talking about, or are you talking about the
no,
original?
no. I have the original. Are
Oh
you talking
wow.
about? Are you talking about the original?
Yeah, but I figured you'd be referring to the Larry Niven book, but here I am,
No, no.
assuming you don't have the original classics. I learned
No.
I've got this book called All Art is Propaganda. It's about the essays of George Orwell, which this
Oh.
guy, because I think it was on this Rubin show. He had a guy on that had uh, talking about the book and about Orwell and essays in general. And apparently, there was nobody more admired for the essay art form than Orwell. And it's
Really?
like, yeah, it's like, okay, that's all you have to tell me is that this is someone that writers are absolutely, inspired by every day of how to do it. And I'm a guy that kind of halfway wants to know how to do it. So, yeah, I'll get that out of the library.
You know how you can practice writing essays?
What? Just writing one?
Letters to the editor.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Twitter to an extent, just the process of writing, rewriting, and saying, now it's perfect. In a way, you've done a little mini essay. It's not like, and it's weird, when you think about the mental trap of saying, "Oh, I can't sit down and do that." Uh, well, it's so weird because you do it every time you get on Twitter. So it's
I
not
don't get
like
on.
it's
I don't
difficult
get
for
on.
you.
I don't get on Twitter.
Well, that's good on you, but the point is, it shouldn't be that hard for anybody that decides to be a loudmouth like me on Twitter. It's like,
Yeah.
go ahead, sail into it.
Yeah.
I also learned that Orwell is not really his name. I always just assumed a guy with a name like Orwell that would go ahead and be your name, but no, he's got some sort of very common sounding name, and I guess I need to do the research on why he picked the fabrication of Orwell. Maybe there's something special about that conglomeration that I should know.
Yeah. I don't know, but
Someone he no doubt admired that he wanted to say, okay, I like this guy and this guy. Same way movie stars name themselves sometimes, I guess.
yeah, maybe it was an uncle he liked or something.
Yeah.
Michelle and I are on the list to get the vaccine.
Oh, you are. Very
Well,
cool.
we have appointments to get. I mean, when I say we're on the list, we have appointments to get the vaccine.
Very cool. I
Yeah, I mean,
I'm if I get it, I get it. I'm not I figure I'll be waiting so long that they may force me to get it. I don't know.
well, here's the thing. At some point, they're going to make it where you have to get it to fly. I mean, they
Yeah,
were,
exactly. Yeah, yeah.
you
They
know,
will go after your freedoms if you don't get it. Yeah.
hmm And sorry to any listeners that would disagree with this. I don't necessarily believe that it's a plot or whatever. You know, and the good thing is the only good thing appointments to get the microchip nice
Yeah, yeah,
is it the microchip or the mark of the beast? Come on, let's decide. I don't, I don't know. If it is nefarious, they wore me out. I give up. I throw myself on the gears of the machine. Uh,
Well, what I like about it, from my perspective, is that everybody is enthused enough about it that I'll get a lot of feedback. I actually had one person I actually know given recent feedback about having had the coronavirus, so I needed that to hear that
that's a thing.
that it's not completely make believe, that it is
Well,
kind of rough on the system, and
I know people have died of it, so I
yeah,
mean it's not I
yeah.
heard about them. I mean I literally know, and I know quite a few people that have had it. You know,
hmm No, I don't though. I mean that was so it's good to hear at least that dispels that notion that this it's not at least common enough that I should have heard of somebody had it. But I don't have a huge circle, so
now who
it's like
besides me, who you talk to?
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
Well, I talked to a very hard hit area in Arkansas via email,
oh
and she's always telling me that people have been hit by it in their region, and of course, it's an aging population, so they are
yeah,
actually getting deaths from it.
yeah.
So
Well, here's the thing. My wife has been home from work for over a year, and she needs to be back in the office. She's
sure,
going stir crazy. The owner of the company was reluctant to let anybody back until they started getting vaccines. So, I don't know. Trust me, I'm not one to just willy nilly put stuff in my body, but also, I know nurses and doctors that have taken it, and Dave's got it. He's a nurse.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's taken the vaccine.
He's taken both rounds of the vaccine. So,
Wow. Okay.
you know, oh, Fly
Okay.
Fox saw it, had 6 family members get it, including elderly people. All are fine. Well, I'm glad. And don't get me wrong. I honestly believe that a lot of this was an exercise in, uh, we'll call
Well,
it manipulation of the political system,
yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Sure.
and a lot of and unfortunately, a lot of politicians gambled by making it making it where they had to close down their cities
Mm-hmm.
and states, and they would be paying a heavy price had the election gone a different way.
Just shows you
That's,
what it was worth to them.
yeah,
Yeah. It shows you
they
that how quickly they got on the idea of saying, let's make that check for 1.9 trillion.
God, now
And
that's a different deal.
yeah, it's like, now wait a minute.
It's
It's
like
like,
holy,
we don't need
if
that much. And it's like, okay,
yeah,
and say, oh, no, trust us, you do need that much. And it's like,
oh
okay.
yeah, I would be. Well, I'm gonna say this, and if any of the listeners are offended by this, I apologize, but I would be horrified about some of the stuff that's going on if I had children, which is incredibly selfish of me to say. But I
Well,
feel
no,
like,
I'm with you. I can only get so much of that going, in terms of like saying, let's march now. I can't do it because it will all last as long as I'm around, even though it could careen toward being, Venezuela pretty quick, like. But
yeah,
I trust these guys in Washington to be able to make it as bad as it can get, as quick as it can get.
oh, absolutely. But
But
here's well, and not wanting to turn, and I sometimes I turn the show into into my religious soapbox. And if this offends anybody, I apologize. But I'm of the belief that this is all in God's hands, and I think we're careening down a hill with no brakes.
mhm.
But I've lived through bad periods and seen it be like, oh, well, once something happened, it all kind of turned around, So who knows,
Yeah,
it doesn't.
it's hard to say where the next turnaround is coming though. They are trying to square things away to where there's never anything going to be anything but a
Oh yeah,
things the way they want it. And I'm just horrified by the idea of how much help agencies like the CIA gave one party this time around. It's
oh
just
yeah.
it's just it boggles the mind to
Again,
think just how bad.
I go back to what I said before, though. I honestly believe it's all in God's hands,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that I don't say that flippantly or whatever, but it's like, well, I can't do anything about it. I did what I
Mhm.
could do, um, you
By
know,
voting, huh?
by voting, and I believe that if, I believe that, when you read, uh, the book of Revelations, that's how things shake out, as difficult as it is to understand sometimes. And I think that doesn't promise a smooth ride, So
I can almost hear Zuckerberg chuckling when you said, I did my bit, I voted. I can hear him
yeah, probably.
chuckling at the massive cancellation that he did to that.
Yeah. Yeah, how dare I believe that God is sovereign and control? I know it's very tongue in cheek, and
Yeah,
well, and I and
Fly Fox Pro is with us here on this one. He's not
yeah,
always with us, but he's with us on this one.
I don't. Yeah, well, and I just think that I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, the idea of a sovereign God is you know is something that should be a big hit with everybody, but I guess it's not really in
Good.
terms of
Yeah.
like modernity. It's like
Yeah.
it gets mocked every time I turn on Twitter. So
Yeah.
I saw Stephen King writing on Twitter right before I got here was, oh, such a relief. A president that's not angry and divisive. It's so refreshing. It's like, you mean you're all excited about your non-entity Joe Biden compared to Trump?
Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, how pleasant as a president that's comatose.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
how president that just isn't there. They asked him the only question you could hear being asked was like, when are you holding a press conference? It's the only one that emerged in
Oh yeah.
the soundtrack. And he turned around and answered his some sort of great boilerplate about the rollout on the vaccine. And it's like, okay, you can do that because they're your guys, but you know, it's like
Well,
everybody is paying attention. You are supposed to at some point act like you can form sentences based on people asking you questions.
and
You
here's
can.
something else to think about. Uh, the certain people in this country. Uh, yeah, I am not. I am. No, I'm not post millennial. Sorry, for a second I read that as post millennial, like in generations. I'm definitely Generation X, but I mean I don't know, but I'm pre-trib. That may not mean anything to most of our listeners, but fly thought folks, it's in terms of how the book of Revelation comes out and when Jesus actually returns to free us from this veil of tears. I'm thinking it's early, but it may not be. Uh, but here's the other
That's
thing.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, it is like guys that are trying to time stuff end up like embarrassing themselves sometimes. It's
Sure.
like let's all go meet on the mountaintop because we know
Yep.
it's happening.
Yep.
And it's
Yeah.
like,
No. No. No.
nope.
Yeah. That's not. No. 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 That's not where. It's more in the end time events where are Christians
Hmm.
removed from the earth? When will the rapture happen? Is basically
Yeah.
and some people, most modern people, I think, are what they call pre-tribulation, which tribulation is 9 years. And again, Revelation is kind of tricky because it's not all spelt out, but it's 9 years of basically this horrible time on earth. And
Hmm.
so some people believe Christians have to go through it, and some of them don't. And I don't think that we do, but if we do, we do. But
It's
I would
interesting
say
that, yeah, go ahead.
I would say the most important thing is no matter what you believe about that you're ready whenever it happens. That's
Hmm.
that's make sure that you're you know that you've made things right with the Lord. I'll put it
Hmm.
that way, so that it's not the completely religious hour. But anyway,
There are many gospel songs based on just that. Make sure you're
exactly.
ready.
Yep. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Uh, the but here's the other thing that going back to the secular aspect of all this. I believe that I believe that our system is more robust. Um, the idea of these what are they called? Presidential whatever executive
orders. Yeah.
That's kind of a new thing, and Obama relied on that, and Trump came in and undid them all. It's only as permanent as the guy. Now, a lot can happen in the meantime. It's maybe not good. Don't get me wrong. I'm not minimizing that, but I don't, you know, I don't, I don't, I don't know. Also, I believe in the fickleness of the press, and they will turn on him. A lot of people turned on Obama, and because they weren't happy
I've got no memory of that. I don't remember any of those jerks turning on Obama.
Well,
Obama had an eight-year honeymoon from everybody except for a little Fox News irritation.
No. I'm not talking about in the press. I'm just talking about in the mainstream.
Okay.
And I think he's flying with these executive orders. I don't know. I don't know. I just have faith that eventually this stuff all turns, and there's a midterm coming up, and I know they're trying everything they can to rig them, but
Yeah. No, I see a full court press to making sure that nothing can be fixed myself, but that's just me.
Well, no. I trust me. I believe. Yeah, they're trying to not get fixed.
They're trying to unbalance our population just overnight. They're trying to say we're going to make sure that we never can have another office holder that reflects the middle class you used to know. So
well, let me put it this way. So a few years ago in comics, someone decided that hey, we need to hire people, and we need to take as an important factor non-talent related things. Okay,
yeah.
So instead of hiring the best person for the job, they hired people that maybe were adequate, or we'll also call them adequate at the job, but yet had other criteria.
Yeah.
And they and that flew for a long time, but we've seen the rewards of that. You can't you can't hire in comics, you can't hire subpar people for any reason and expect it to be business as usual. You're going to pay a price by not hiring the best people possible. And I think that kind of comes out with government. If what I believe, what you believe is that the way that Democrats want things ran is ultimately harmful to the American people and the American society, that will come out in the end. You know what I'm saying? And people will, there'll be a backlash ultimately if that's true.
I think there's enough of it that gets around that the truth isn't completely suppressed, but it is so systematically ignored by the people that need to be given it airtime that it works, and they know it works. They know that to ignore is as good as to put something forward. It is in some ways more powerful to say, okay, we will ignore that like it doesn't exist. That's why all the canceling is going on. That's it's a proactive way to ignore. If it's not there, it doesn't exist. It didn't fall in the forest. Yeah.
And you're right there, but the thing is you can only damage the economy so much before people start going, okay. I got.
I'm again being dubious. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I got $1,400 in my checking account, but I'm paying $7 a gallon for gas. You know what I'm saying? At some point,
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Well, of course, the problem is what happens is that stuff then a Republican comes in and fixes it, and they go, "See, it wasn't that bad." I mean, no one remembers that Obama was when Trump promised to fix the economy. Obama was very quick to lash out at him and go, "What's he going to do? Wave a magic wand and fix
Yeah.
the economy?" And then now they're like, "Oh, that was Obama's fix. Finally, come in, And when and but yet during when he was serving, Obama was very clear. Hey, you just have to get used to it. This is the new normal. Whatever our GDP was, zero GDP growth. That's normal.
Yeah. Yeah. Tucker Carlson had the most. I mean, it's all been terrifying since Joe got elected, but his most terrifying one is showing what Joe had in mind for the military in terms of like priorities, and it was all about some new feminization that he's really excited about their notions about where to take the military. It's like, oh man, the last stronghold of like meritocracy is like, because it has to be. It kills you if you aren't doing things right, if you aren't doing things smart. And so I anticipate some bloody results from the direction.
Yeah, I think that's true. I mean,
And we had some big jerk in Zinzu show up.
Oh,
Zinzu,
cool.
is that a thing about the Chinese state, not Chinese, Japanese, I think, state of mind, or is it Chinese? In terms of like, it seems to be a familiar thing I've heard about before of like some sort of mental state you want your mind in while you're being creative or something.
I think you're thinking of feng shui.
Feng shui, maybe.
Maybe. No. That's the art of arranging furniture.
So and so dreams of sushi. What's his name?
Oh, Euro
dreams of sushi. That's what
Have
you
you
should
seen
know
that?
about everything. I started on. I don't know why I didn't finish it. It was well done.
Oh,
And I usually like a little bit of good, well done documentaries.
I'll tell you a story that our comic reader listeners may appreciate. Okay, so I'm friends with CB Cebulski, sort of. I've known him for a long time from submitting stuff. When he's given me a tour of Marvel, so I know him. I have his cell phone number. I'll text him and email him occasionally. Anyway, so when I watch, he's a big food guy. If you've ever seen him, he's a big guy, but
he's also a foodie.
He's a foodie. He's definitely a foodie. Did a podcast about eating food for a while. Anyway, so when I watched that movie, I texted him and I said, "I'm sure you've already seen it, but I just watched this movie and it's great." I said, I'm not a foodie. I could care less about food. I said, but it's an excellent example of someone that is practicing their craft at the highest level, and it's interesting to see what he did and his procedure and his commitment and what it's cost him, or
in terms of like it cost him because he would refuse to mass bring it down in some way as quality.
You'll have to watch it.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah, but I sent him this short little essay about how I thought it was something all creative people should watch because I felt like it applied way more than just making sushi. And he sent me back this very enthusiastic note. Oh yeah, you get it. He goes, "I've recommended this movie to so many people, and most people don't get it." He said, "You're absolutely spot on. That's exactly what I thought about when I saw." Anyway, so
it wouldn't surprise me that he's dodged into the actual establishment before he gets around. They send him places.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how much he travels now, but yeah, when he was the talent scout at Marvel, he definitely traveled around. now he's the whatever editor in
I
chief.
wonder if they've ever tried to seduce an anime favorite away from the industry over there to try to get them to do Marvel. It doesn't seem like it'd be something that would happen.
They have.
Okay,
Yeah.
because they're looking for
Oh
like a
yeah.
very quick art, but it's cool art. I mean, I like the idea that anime is such a direct gestural thing for the most part, even though they do a lot of heavy duty rendering. I mean, they get into the hatching and stuff
Well, I mean,
on some
depends on
styles.
who and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Different manga artists have done different work for Marvel over the years. Not so much now as in the '90s when he was the talent scout, he was recruiting them. I think a
Hmm.
lot of them now are like, I think Marvel now is dictated by who they can get for cheap.
Do you remember at the old San Diego Comic Con where the Japanese industry was around for a while? I would say it's probably in the mid '90s, where they were
I
saying, "Hey, let's see what you got. Maybe we want to put it out," because they were being like, "Let's be culturally interested in what little indies in America might be up to."
Oh really?
But yeah, but most people failed as far as they were concerned. They were after stuff that was more like I think they were after the Jeff, what's his name? Jeff. That does those. He's a really quick artist. What's his name? Jeff Leahy or something like that.
Jeff Lemire?
Yeah, that's it. Jeff Lemire. Which
Well, you know,
that guy that just shows you it's all in the writing. That guy, it's all
oh
about.
yeah, his art's terrible.
Yeah.
Paul Pope went over and worked in manga for a while.
Huh.
Yeah,
That's
Paul
interesting.
the
He's a,
story. Yeah, he one of the manga publishers brought Paul Pope over, and there was a French artist that they brought over, and Paul
chained
Pope.
him to a board. Oh, go ahead.
Well, so Paul Pope, he was working and he had a correct quote, and I forget the quote. It was like 30 pages a week or something like that, and he was killing himself making, and he has a fairly fast style.
Mm-hmm.
He was killing himself doing this stuff, and and so at one point they he went to him and he said, "Oh man, I'm dying doing this." Da, da, da. And they said, "Well, how many assistants do you have? Hire another assistant."
Yeah.
And he realized all these manga artists were hitting their deadlines by hiring assistants. You
I tell you
know.
what, I had this book by Tim Ferriss called The 4 Hour Work Week. He's got this huge section in it. It's basically almost like his main thing. It's like you don't do the work; someone else does the work, and it's like his whole deal is just this wealth of things you can do to outsource all your work. And I thought about that. I thought, now would I be happy? And I would be if I did this stuff this quickly. And I said, "Hey, Korean guys, here it comes. I'd like to see it in a week." And all of a sudden, my graphic novel comes back done by somebody else at my direction. And
I would hire an inker like that.
yeah, exactly. Well,
Yeah,
and
no,
that's
for
the thing.
sure.
You might find them in India. There's no telling how many fantastic talents are out there that are available to you and me if you
This
just
is
want to
this
go ahead
is
and step
why
off
this
and
is
do it.
why this is why the comic industry doesn't hire Americans anymore, Ellis.
Yeah, I know exactly. No, you are adding
You're this.
to,
Yeah, you're the problem. You're the problem. Thank you,
but
Joe
for the
Biden.
sake of, but for the
Thank you,
sake of an
Sleepy Ellis.
but for the sake of an indie comic, that's not really the case. You are saying let's think about my storytelling limitations. Maybe I mean in terms of like an
No.
indie comic, you're saying I'm not hiring here because, hey, I can do it all myself here. I'm saying that I want to supercharge what I can do. Okay. I guess though you're absolutely right. Star
That's
Storyteller.
why.
Hi,
That is
everyone.
why. That is why no Americans get hired in the comic industry.
Hmm.
Uh,
Well,
well,
do
here's
you think like it's totally being farmed out now? I
yes,
didn't think that.
yes,
Well, who
yes.
do they go to? Who's their go to for
All over
what country?
Philippines,
Okay, the
Philippines.
Philippines, huh? Okay.
Again, the Philippines, just like in the 70s.
Well, if they're all Alex Nino, then it's a smart move. But if they aren't, then
Well, yeah, yeah.
I think Alex Nino's Filipino. He did
But I
some
mean, they're not.
great concept art for Disney. Man, some of that stuff is.
I have his book. He did a book. It's downstairs on drawing comics.
Oh, really?
Secrets of a Comic Master. Yeah,
Wow, that sounds cool.
it's very non-instructive and more philosophical.
Hey, yeah, yeah. It could be a
Oh,
trade. It could be a trade. Obviously, yeah, yeah. That probably would be a good thing for young people to trade off, saying you can ink. Well, then that happened a lot. The guy who does Berserk does it all himself, and that manga has been going on since the '90s. He takes yearly breaks from it. Yeah. Well,
when
and it's interesting to read about the guy that did uh, the little robot girl, Alita, is you know the span of
oh yeah,
time that went over. I mean, this he brought that along over I don't know 2 decades or something like that.
yeah, something like that.
So I dug that. That
Did
cross
you see the
cultures.
movie? Did you
Oh
see the
yeah.
movie? Oh, okay.
Oh,
I
it
didn't know.
made me want another movie. I don't know what they were thinking. They get all geared up, get all that James Cameron heavy duty ability behind it, and then you get a very talented Robert Rodriguez doing the movie, and that was a home run as far as I was concerned. I've got no idea. Well, I guess bottom line kept them
Yeah,
from.
box office disagrees with you, but
Yeah, yeah,
I agree with you. We bought the DVD, so or the Blu-ray.
yeah.
You know, I thought it was decent. You know,
Kevin Eastman's newest four comic series, The Last Ronin and The Death of the Turtles. Now, does that date
oh
back to some far ago time, or is that
no,
now
it's
happening now?
current. It's current. Ellis hadn't seen it.
No, I haven't seen it. That answers your question, doesn't it?
When's the last time you went to a comic shop, Ellis?
Keep on rocking. I haven't been to a comic shop since the last time I went to Free Comic Day and drew and did some drawing.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. Which
Yeah, probably easy.
I went to early in the pandemic. I went to my local comic shop and I bought. I had him as soon as they closed down for the pandemic. I had him pull a bunch of back issues I wanted and bought a fair amount. I won't say a large amount. It wasn't. It was maybe $50, $100 worth of comics. But I just felt like that was the time to pick up back issues and support him.
Yeah.
And
No, that's great.
I've been back a few times, but there's nothing I want to read. I for some reason, and people tell me the Ronin thing looks pretty cool, but I saw on a review that the art was a little hit and miss. But I don't know. I'll probably at this point I'll probably get the trade of the last Ronin.
Well, it's interesting because
Not a
I think almost all this little culture that's here and here on our channel following and dropping in and saying hi is probably people that are uh, doing the
fed up with
Indiegogo and
comics.
Kickstarter support and
Yeah.
that stuff. Sometimes when you get your Kickstarter book, you know I always get PDFs, and then I don't go to the trouble of really getting around to reading them fairly often. I just like say, there it is, you know. you know, I and
Yeah,
it's like a lot of things. I get around to it when I get around to it, and I'll
sure.
let it surprise me, I guess, in another couple of years. And that's not the way to be. You ought to say, okay, I'm going to take the time to read this. For one
Life is
thing,
short.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing I've been reading the moment I get it is stuff from Mike Miller and
Doug.
let's see, Gary Shipman that does the Titan thing. He's got another campaign coming out. He's trying to give it a lick with the coloring book market, which was a big thing at one time. I don't know if it still is, but that would be a good idea to get uh, give that a try.
Yeah, I can't imagine that diminished because of the pandemic, but I don't know if it was on its way out. Because
Oh
yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
it shouldn't have diminished. Yeah, yeah. It's like sitting around. Bring out another comic book
Well,
or coloring book.
it's like my wife does puzzles, and it's impossible to find puzzles because so many people are at home. You know,
Hmm. Oh,
so
really?
people.
They're actually flying off the shelf, huh?
Oh yeah, you can't. And I don't know if it's a problem with supply or just a problem with demand, but yeah, yeah, it's not like it was
Well,
even
there you
because
go. You just pointing that out in the market that someone could say, "Oh, so it's they want them that bad, huh?" And you could put a move on it, be proactive, and you could make some money. You know?
I think the problem is it's a lot more difficult to make a puzzle than a coloring book. Coloring book you can just send to the printer and it's actually
Mhm.
cheaper than like a color comic because you're doing it in black and white. A puzzle you'd have to cut, you have to make a die. I mean, I don't know where
Yeah.
you'd get a puzzle made. If somebody said, "Well, I'm going to make a Earthworm Jim puzzle or whatever,"
Hmm.
it might be a little more challenging than an Earthworm Jim coloring book, for example.
Yeah.
But I mean that's not to say I couldn't do it. I mean, there's people that do it, so I'm sure there's a factory somewhere in our new home world of China that would make it for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
I wonder if I imagine the die that does the cutting is just you've got a format, you get a size, you turn them in at, and slam, 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 and if you can solve one, you can solve all of them. In terms of like
yeah,
the pieces that come out of it, it's they're probably all the same.
yeah.
At
I
least
mean,
at least for a certain run, I would think.
yeah. Michelle does a lot of puzzles, and I mean they're not all absolutely all the same, but I'm sure there are certain manufacturers. If you bought three of their puzzles, you might get
Yeah,
identical pieces.
turn them over upside down and solve them, and say, hey, wait a second, all these puzzles are the same.
Oh, Natas sorry, said, Ellis, if you want a funny, creative way an artist saved on supplies, look at Dragon Ball Z, wanted to save on ink. So they made the character transformations where their hair turned.
Well, yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean,
That's that is desperate to save ink. I can't imagine how much ink you save that way, but you never know.
yeah,
You know.
I think about that all the time when I send something to the printer. It's like I will go ahead and if I got a big black field or something, I'll go ahead and do something about that so it's not there when I print it. Save on my toner.
Yeah, I have a brother 11 by 17 printer, and I buy toner. I buy refills like off of Amazon. And last time I bought refills, it was like four sets of full color cartridges. I think it may have came with some extra black, and they were the full. The brother has a small and a large cartridge. So this is the large cartridge, high capacity, I think they call it.
So you aren't
And
getting off market ones, huh?
no, I am. That's what I'm
Okay,
saying.
okay, okay.
They're
Oh, okay.
they're they're I don't know where they're coming from. I don't care.
Just as good though, aren't they? Because that's what I do too.
Yeah.
Because
I
otherwise,
paid
you just go ahead and buy
like
another
$9.
printer because those cartridges are
Well,
expensive.
well, I mean, my printer was $200. I mean, it's a big
Right.
printer, but yeah, cartridges, brother cartridges are like I think they're $70 or something for it, a full set. And I bought like 4 sets, and it was like $9. So practically free, as I call it.
What's the most recent thing you've watched on Amazon Prime?
Me?
Uh huh. Well,
Uh,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if that was a question
That's
from
all
some
right. I was
from
just
a
I was
listener.
looking
I
around.
I'm currently watching a series called Orphan Black. I've seen the first 2 episodes. It's different.
Hmm. Orphan
Uh,
Black, huh?
now, literally, the most recent thing was this morning. I watched an episode of Andy Griffith.
Yeah.
I've been watching Andy Griffith episodes every morning of the pandemic,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah. That's a good discipline. Yeah, yeah.
I am almost out of episodes. I think I got about 10 left.
They're great storytelling. Absolutely great,
Yeah,
great. It's all based on character.
yeah,
Mhm.
they're entertaining. I'll say
Ghost
this.
Town with Ricky Gervais. Okay, I'll think about that.
Uh, uh, watching these helped me because the original ones had Barney Fife,
Uh huh.
and I have to deal with someone at my work who's very Barney Fife like, and seeing that helped me put a handle on their personality and help me deal with them.
Yeah.
So you can take that how you take that how you want.
Well, that's funny because I'm watching and really digging it, but this is on Netflix. Schitt's Creek, and
Oh yeah,
oh
that's
god,
on
those are
Prime.
yeah. Is it? Well,
Yeah,
It's not on Prime.
yeah, it is.
You can buy it, but it's not
No, it's on Prime.
free.
I've watched them. Yes,
Really?
yes, yes,
I think that's old news. I don't think it's now currently on Prime. I'm going to
yes,
check that. See if it's got that
yes.
little tag up in the corner.
It doesn't because it's an IMDb series, but it's
Oh, okay. So
free.
you're watching it with some ads or something. Okay.
Yes, I believe there are ads.
Okay. So you can get it
It's
on the
it's
internet.
on it's on Amazon Prime and it's free.
Okay. Yeah. Well, but anyway, talking about Barney and stuff, they just completely recycled the whole Barney won't take no for an answer with the men's choir
Oh yeah.
episode. You've got this this very arrogant woman that used to be rich most of her life, and she was in showbiz in a soap opera, and she knows they need her in this jazz girls group, and she comes along. She realizes, "Oops, I'm surrounded by talent," but it
See,
doesn't really stop her.
see, it's on Prime. Free with ads.
Free with ads. Okay, yeah, it can be had. Well, that's something good to think about if I ever want to cancel Netflix over some sort of
Is it good?
cuties controversy. But
Is it is it
I
is it good? I've watched part of it and I was underwhelmed with it, Ellis.
really, you what'd you do? Just start in from the top because the top is a great way to begin the film. I mean, he's being
I don't know what you mean by from the top. You mean
well
in the
the very
beginning?
first segment. Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I started and I've watched I don't know 3 or 4 and it's like
Yeah.
it didn't land for me.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because for me it right away was just making me laugh. I mean, if it's a good thing I wasn't drinking milk, it would have come out my nose a couple of times. And it's for me, it's the old nostalgia of seeing those SCTV pros back together again. Of Catherine O'Hare, they've even got one guy. He's got the world's worst when he was a child case of what do they call that cystic acne.
Yeah.
And when you've got really your face, Charles
Yeah.
Bukowski had it. Richard Burton had it, at some point or other in your life. And it's like, it'd be a horrible way to be a child, at that age when you typically get it. And, but his face is just so cratered up, but he's such a funny guy. And I remembered on SCTV, his role that he had back then was, he was no, he wasn't a bartender. He was a kid TV show host, introducing the cartoons and the special old timey cereals that he would introduce. But he was such a bad alcoholic. The only place he could host the show was in a bar. And so, so he'd be watching the monitor over the bar in terms of like being able to introduce his shows. And it was, it was such a funny premise. The idea of, I can't get away from this, this glass full of booze, Let's see. SCTV was great. Yeah. I enjoyed that comedy show. Yeah. Yeah. Jinju, what I'm doodling is just what comes out of the tip of a ballpoint pen tonight. I started trying with the iPad doing real work, and it worked out okay. I did some touch up, and started another panel where I use a rake to just do real general big silhouette shapes, which is a good way to have as your bottom layer as you come in and say, now I'll think about it a little bit, and maybe I'll just stick with the big shapes. Who knows? I need to do that someday. I need to do about a couple of pages that are just purely silhouettes, because it has such impact to say, okay, we're going with all black now. And it's like, the eye loves it. Why don't I do it more often?
I liked when you did that. You did that story about about the detective on Film Row for the Oklahoma Comics or Okie Comics.
There I was trying to copy Darwin Cook, of having just one color, and it all be and it not being gradations of a color. You've got that for your mid-tone.
Yeah, I thought that style looked good, and I thought that whole thing looked good.
Yeah, I enjoyed doing that. It was good exercise for me.
I'm surprised you don't know more of that.
You're inspiring me. That's what I need to go back to for the DL and Odious that I'm doing it.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Wally and Odious, but I knew that wasn't right.
Hey, you did an oil painting, did you, Fly Fox Pro? I did one. I finished up of what's he called? Adam Strange getting hit by the Zeta ray, and I finally finished that off. Got it off my board. And feel pretty good about it. I'm about to, Fly Fox Pro. Question for you: have you ever taken a black and white painting and then overlaid tints of color on it? Supposedly, Rockwell and others, their oil paintings, you're looking at an underpainting that was very much monotone, that they then did successive layers of color. Yeah, glazes. That's the word, glazing. And supposedly that's one of the ways that these master illustrators used to do things. I'm gonna decide which one I want to run the most, and go ahead and try that. I'll probably do the Popeye versus Wolverine one, because that one would take some color pretty easily, I would think.
Color to make it pop, I would think.
Yeah.
Hey, that might be something you could sell on eBay too.
Yeah. If I colored it right, if I tried to sell most of these black and white paintings I've been doing on eBay, they'd say, "Wait a second, that's not a painting. It's not in color." So
I think you sell yourself short. I see some crazy stuff selling on eBay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something I need to make some money. Oh, I was going to say, one of the things I was going to mention tonight, we have in our local job market now the potential for working for. Oh, but I haven't added color. Sounds like it would work pretty well. Yeah, just like having filters over your work in Photoshop. We have locally, a guy has bought our gigantic civic center, and that has become a brand new massive sound stage that has 5 massive separate facilities that studios could be working in. And I'm thinking about I need to make some money. We all need to make money, of course, but I'm gonna see how often I can maybe get a little storyboard work from this new synergy going on there, and it'd be good to just know about that place because
No, absolutely.
there's going to be some fun, different creativity for this area going on. You know, it beats the hell out of pushing boxes for Amazon, and I think they're the other big employer right now. And of course, there's you can work in the oil fields, or you can do some nice SoCal kind of work and work for the film industry. If they come, you know, they've built it. Will they come? I don't know.
Your information is all out of date.
Oh,
They're going great guns down there.
are they? Oh, very
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah. 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 They're yeah. The pandemic. You don't watch the local news, do you?
It's forced them to get a lot of runaway projects, huh? Very cool.
Well, I'm yeah, no. They're well, I don't think it's been bought. I think the city is putting that out. I don't, and I could be mistaken about this, but I think the city is promoting that as they've developed that as an area, as a film production area,
Hmm.
and they are renting it out, I believe, to productions. I don't think the city
You
owns
don't
it.
think somebody's come along and bought
But I
that
could
big convention center?
no, I don't, no, I don't think so. I think the city, as part of the film push, converted it to a film thing, and uh, and that they're using for that. They're see, this is one of those reasons why you need to be on Facebook because there's Facebooks. There's
Yeah, yeah,
somebody that
yeah. In terms of like there is money making things, I am missing out on Facebook, no doubt.
yes, there is. Well, we have a mutual friend. I'm not going to say his name. In fact, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But I
Okay.
think you're friends with him. He does a lot of movie stuff and locally, and I mean, if you're interested in that, you need to pursue that guy for sure.
Hmm. Okay.
We'll talk about it after we get off the
Okay.
air though.
Well,
Uh,
it's not our fellow comic book artist Bennett, is it?
no, nope,
Okay.
nope, no. This guy's a filmmaker, not an artist.
Oh, okay.
He's a
Oh,
he's
I
a
know
movie
who you're
he's a
talking
movie.
about. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. You're talking about his partner is typically our friend in Norman that has a comic book shop.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
That guy would be all over a big facility like that. Yeah, yeah.
Well, I think I don't know if he's using that, but that's yeah. I'm
But
glad you said that though
he's
because
getting work. Yeah, he's getting work. Yeah,
well,
he might be doing it at home, but he's getting
yeah,
farmed out projects.
he's done a bunch of stuff.
He's an animator. He's a stop motion animator. I know that.
Yeah, yeah, yep. Uh,
He's done his own X-Men movie, which was a modest success of some sort.
well, yeah. Did you say X-Men movie? It was an X. It was a movie about superheroes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
mutants,
it was.
youthful mutants. Yeah,
What was the name of that? The Post-Human Project.
yeah, yeah. So
Yep.
people can do all the looking up they want to now, and they will know who we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, if they don't live here, it won't help them.
I
But
remember watching a video a long time ago of an artist doing a large picture for practice in various shapes of hatching, as well as seeing art just stippling. Sure, sure, sure. What's his name? Surratt was all about pointillism.
I was gonna say I don't think there's any videos of Surratt though.
Yeah, yeah.
He was pre-video, dude.
Yeah, not, definitely pre-video, but was he pre-photographs? I don't know. I
I
don't
don't
think so.
know. I don't think so. Photos have been around since Civil War. I think Surratt was 1890s.
Yeah. Hey, we have been going an hour and what? An hour and 10.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Do you do exercises with hatching and stippling as well, Ellis? Not as much as maybe I ought to. My whole point style wise is to try to go towards something like a Darwin Cook kind of simplicity that's hopefully within my reach. I don't know. It may get there sometime. I just
You're kind of anti-texture.
I'm anti getting any busier, and I absolutely have to be for an image. Yeah.
So I have this book, and I haven't looked at it in a while, but it's a manga book about how to pen and ink.
Wow.
And
Nice.
and at one time I picked this up, and it has this is a great book. I need to reread it. I don't know that I ever read the whole thing, but it has there's a point for me grabbing this if I can find it. Oh, so it has training on how to ink, and it doing lines, doing circles.
Well, yeah, I tell you what, every time I watch that David Finch stuff where he shows you how to crosshatch, it's like I say, I'm going to do that. I'm going to practice that because that looks cool. And then I realized, no, I don't want to. I don't want to do artwork that looks like that. I don't want any artwork that takes too much trouble. Yeah.
If you don't want to do art like that, don't practice.
Yeah. Why should I practice it? I tell you what, it makes you sharp to have that. It's going to make you draw quicker. To have a almost like an octopus have brains in your tentacles. Basically, an octopus couldn't handle what it does unless it didn't have a kind of an AI all along the whole length of its arms. It gets a lot of boost from its arms thinking for it, and that's what that muscle memory stuff of getting really good with your rendering. That's going to make you quicker.
So what I was going to say is I used to work with a guy that he went to one of I forget the art school in San Francisco, but they teach you their basic idea is they teach you product design. I think I may have talked about this guy recently, and he so he was showing me, and they would do with an ink pen. They had to do straight lines. They'd get a piece of paper and just fill it with straight lines.
Just hatch.
And straight, not hatch, straight lines. And then the idea was it taught you did enough of those, you could draw a straight line without a ruler. Pretty straight line. And then I don't think they did, I think they may have done circles and a couple other things. I don't think they did much hatching because you don't really do hatching in rendering like that in product design. But he said, man, doing that, and doing those circles, and he was using they'd use those what are those not technical pens, but those high-tech C pens. That was the big thing in that school, is everybody used those, but they would just do a series of circles, and you had to they were same size and each one touched, and you just tried to get perfect circles, fill the page full of perfect circles.
Yeah,
and he was pretty good at that.
That the name of that school that everybody goes to in terms of like there's Otis. I was actually at that. Art Center is the name of it.
It's the art center. It's the art center. So
that's where everybody goes that does like that does car design and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I have this book, which is by Scott Robertson. He was a guest teacher
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this. Oh yeah, this book has some of the
How to draw.
exercises. Some of the
Yeah.
exercises, yeah, but it's geared towards drawing, cars,
In
which,
perspective, getting your volumes
yeah,
just right. Yep.
well, yeah, I mean, the whole thing is drawn on a perspective grid, and
Mm-hmm.
it's and like even and this guy that I knew was kind of tired of it because everything was drawn on like I don't know what it was, like a 30-60 grid or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, it was very,
It was
uh,
probably very much like the eye sees. Yeah.
well,
Yeah. In
no,
terms like you
it was
wouldn't want
just,
to distort.
yeah, well, it was just an industry standard for what they
Mm-hmm.
did,
Mm-hmm.
but anyway,
Okay. Well,
okay. I think I'm done.
1 minute 50. Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to walk away from it again without you, with you remembering something.
No, I
Okay.
think I'm good. You know, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
Well, I guess we'll say goodbye. Thanks everybody for dropping
yeah,
by and with the
yep,
notes and everything.
absolutely.
See you soon because I appreciate it. I watch podcasts after they're over, so I appreciate the live stuff happening.
Luckily, we depend on people that are not as lax in their
Yeah,
support as
yeah,
Ellis.
oh, yeah, exactly. Okay, bye, everybody.